So let's continue on with chapter 5. It's called The Giant Killers. The hardest part of the plan to get Janice Avery was to plant the note. They sneaked into the building the next morning before the first bell. Leslie went several yards ahead so that if they were caught, no one would think they were together. Mr. Turner was death on boys and girls he caught sneaking around the halls together. He got to the door of the 7th grade classroom and peeked in. Then she signaled Jess to come ahead. The hair prickled up on his neck. "How will I find her desk? I thought you knew where she sat." He shook his head. "No. I guess you'll have to look in every one until you find it. Hurry, I'll be on the lookout for you." She closed the door quietly and left him shuffling through each desk, trying to be careful not to make a mess. But his stupid hands were shaking so much he could hardly pull anything out to look for the names. Suddenly he heard Leslie's voice. "Oh, Mrs. Pierce, I've been standing here waiting for you." Oh no, the 7th grade teacher was right out there in the hall, heading for this room. He was frozen. He couldn't hear what Mrs. Prince was saying back to Leslie through the closed door. "Yes, ma'am. There's a very interesting nest on the south end of the building, and Leslie thought, "and since you know so much about science, I was hoping you could take a minute and look at it with me and tell me what built it." There was a mumbled reply. "Oh, thank you, Mrs. Pierce." Leslie was practically screaming. "It won't take but a minute. It would mean so much to me." As soon as he heard their retreating footsteps, he flew around the remaining desk. Oh, he found the desk of Janice Avery. He shuffled the note on top of everything else inside the desk and raced out of the room to the boys' room, where he hid there until the bell rang. At recess time, Janice Avery was in a tight huddle with Wilma and Bobby Sue. Then, instead of teasing the little girls, the three of them wandered off arm in arm to watch the big boys' football. As the trio passed them, Jess could see Janice's face all pink and prideful. He rolled his eyes at Leslie, and she rolled hers back. As the bus was about to pull out in the afternoon, one of the 7th grade boys, Billy Morris, yelled up to Miss Prentice that Janice Avery wasn't on the bus yet. "It's okay, Miss Prentice," Wilma Dean called up. "She's not riding today." Then a loud whisper. "Reckon you all know that she's got a big date with you-know-who." "Who?" asked Billy. "Willard Hughes. He's so crazy about her he can't hardly stand it. He's even walking her all the way home." "Yeah? Well, the 304 just pulled out with Willard Higgins in the back seat. So if he's got a big date, I don't think he knows too much about it." "You lie, Billy Morris," Billy yelled across the bus. The entire back seat plunged into a heated discussion as to whether Janice and Willard Hughes were or were not in love, or were or were not seeing each other secretly. As Billy got off the bus, he hollered to Wilma, "You just better tell Janice that Willard is going to be mad when he hears she's spreading that all over school." Wilma's face was red, and she screamed out the window, "Okay, you dummy. You talk to Willard. You'll see. Just ask him about the note. You'll see." "Poor old Janice Avery," Jess said as he sat in their castle later. "Poor old Janice. She deserves everything she gets, and then some. She's mean." "I know," he sighed, "but still." Leslie looked stricken. "You're not sorry we did it, are you?" "No, I guess we had to, but still." "Still what?" He grinned. "Maybe I got this thing for Janice like you got this thing for killer whales." She punched him in the shoulder. "Let's go and find some giants or walking dead to fight. I'm sick of Janice Avery." The next day, Janice Avery stomped onto the bus, her eyes daring everyone in sight to say a word. Leslie nudged Maybelle. Maybelle's eyes went wide. "Did you?" "Shh." "Yes." Maybelle turned completely around and stared at the back seat. Then she turned back and poked Jess. "You made her that mad." Jess nodded, trying to move his head as little as possible as he did so. "We wrote the letter," Leslie whispered, "but you mustn't tell anyone." "I know," said Maybelle, her eyes shining. "I know." And that's the end of chapter 5.